Please welcome the guest court of honor.
By the power vested in me by the National Council of the Boy Scouts of America, I declare this Eagle Scout ceremony for the purpose of awarding the Eagle Scout to Kieran Kelley.
Let us begin our ceremonies by lighting candles symbolic of the three parts of the Scout Oath.
Duty to God and country. Duty to others, and duty to self.
Young Mr. Kelley, please come up. No, I said young Mr. Kelley. No, not that young. This isn't working. The tallest, strongest, best-looking Kelley come up.
As our code of honor began tonight, you join your fellow scouts in setting Scout oath. You will now repeat a new oath, the Eagle Scout promise. I would like to ask all the Eagle Scouts standing in the crowd tonight, please stand up. I reaffirm my allegiance.
Reaffirm my allegiance
To the three promises of Scout oath.
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
Thoughtfully recognize, take upon myself
the obligation and responsibility of the rank of Eagle.
obligation, responsibilities of the rank of Eagle.
On my honor, I will do my best
On my honor, I will do my best
to make my training an example.
make my training an example,
My rank and my influence.
my rank and my influence.
Count strongly for better citizenship, for better scouting, and for better citizenship.
Voting for citizenship.
In my troop and in my community.
In my troop and in my community.
And in my contacts with other people.
And in contact with other people.
To this, I pledge my sacred honor.
To this, I pledge my sacred honor.
Two, please repeat.
So Kieran, when Trey had his Eagle Corps of Honor way back in like 2015, I didn't know that I was allowed to actually talk. I thought I had to be asked to actually, and so afterward he's like, oh, no, if you wanted to say something, all you had to do was just ask me and, you could have talked. I'm like, oh. So when Kieran finally got his Eagle, I'm like, oh, I get to actually say something. I'm very excited. All right, so Kieran's journey to scouting started very, very little. Actually, he came with me to Trey's den meetings when Trey was a Tiger Scout. He was in my belly. And so I became Trey's den leader when Trey was a wolf. And he came from literally, and Ray can remember, I'm sure, like when he was born, and I would bring the baby carrier, and Kieran would be at the den meetings all the way through. I carried him up on the giant hikes. His first time up, he was like 11 months old. I carried him up to the top of the tower with like Trey and Ray's den. And so he started very, very young. And it always seemed like it was a natural progression for him. So as soon as he could, he was in first grade, we got him into Tiger Scouts, and I was very excited. I was his den leader as well. And then, like a couple years later, when Liam joined, I dropped down to that one, and Kieran had a different den leader going from that point. But I was very excited that he continued all the way through. Right to crossover. Eagles got a little rough for his den. They got a little strict with some of the leaders. But he always loved Troop 608. He was kind of a part of 608 before he, it's such a big family. And so he joined 608, and one of the things that I remember Jim saying about Trey's experience when Trey, like, they had gone down to a Six Flags thing, and Trey had been designated as the SPL for the weekend because a lot of the older boys were on a Puerto Rico trip, and they were coming back from that trip, bumping up against the Six Flags camp out. And so Trey was one of the older scouts that wasn't on that Puerto Rico trip. And so Jim made the comment to me afterward, he's like, it was really remarkable because you really see a mantle that is placed on a boy's shoulders, and how nice it was to see him kind of rise to that challenge and take that mantle. Now, for Kieran, like any SPL, every SPL, if you've, anybody here who's been one, raise your hand if you've been an SPL, right? We have a bunch of them in the room. It's a huge responsibility. It is a huge mantle. Now, I didn't get to really see that with Trey because Trey, you know, he didn't really want me too much involved in the troop. And I ended up becoming more or less the secretary, but Kieran, I was very excited because when he wanted to go to Cub Scout camp, he was fine with me going with him, so I was really excited. I was like, I finally get to go to Cub Scout camp. And I probably had as much fun as he did. But spending all that time watching him go from that little boy and learning how to shoot BBs and learning how to do the bow and arrow, and as he gets older into the older group, and when you're actually in Boy Scouts, you start out and you're still fairly a little boy, right? And then as you get older, instead of learning the skills, you start teaching the skills. And I saw him, because I became more active and involved in the troop, I saw him take that mantle and really rise to that occasion and that responsibility. His path was really hard. In large part, obviously with COVID, nothing that any of us had ever done could really kind of prepare anybody for what that happened. And does anybody know how many meetings we missed from when we had the shutdown on like March 16th? How many meetings did we miss? We missed one. The shutdown happened like on a Monday or Tuesday. We missed that Thursday. By the following Thursday, he had gotten a Zoom account up and running. Kieran is amazing was that's what he set up as the email address that was linked to it. I'm not kidding. If you wanted to log into the troop Zoom account, it's literally Kieran is amazing is like the thing. And he kept having to kind of reinvent and reposition, and that is not an easy thing for anybody. And watching him take that responsibility and really shoulder it and keep rising and rising and rising to any challenge that was given to him was really something that I was so impressed with. And I am so grateful to all the different leaders that have been a huge part of his experience, because you really helped to form him and helped him to learn how to adapt. And he really has become such an incredible young man. And I am so proud to have been able to witness it, and I'm very grateful that I have been able to actually see him rise and assume that mantle and carry that weight, whatever that weight is, that is placed on his shoulders. He is able to do it. At his Eagle Board review afterwards, Miggs said, "Oh, would you maybe be interested in coming up to Camp Sequoias and working up there? And you could be the STEM and trades director, and you're going to have to teach welding." He has never welded anything in his life. So he pick up the Eagle, it's very nice. So he had a few hours of training, and then for the rest of the summer, he taught welding. Nobody ended up getting like welded to the table. Well, somebody's sleeve a little bit. But overall, he did a phenomenal job teaching. He works incredibly well with anyone from young children to peers to adults. And it has been such an amazing journey to watch him go from like a little boy to a wonderful and incredibly accomplished young man who even in work, the work that he does, as you've ever talked to him about what he's doing, a lot of people could not do that. But whatever the task is that he is given, he rises and he meets the challenge head on. And I am so proud of you, and I am very grateful to have been a part of your journey. And congratulations.
Honor guard, please escort the candidate's parents.
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
One of my favorite stories of Kieran, where we were upstairs, downstairs at J.N. Webster. First camp out there, Jim was the scoutmaster. And Kieran's out with everybody else, he's, doing what scouts do. And there's this Anwar there. And Kieran looks at it and goes, I'm gonna sleep in that thing. And you don't really pay attention to what he's saying, you're like, yeah, whatever. Wake up in the morning, Kieran's nowhere to be found. Count the kids, go, wait a minute. He said he was gonna sleep in the Anwar. No. Open the Anwar, he's in a sleeping bag, he takes it over his head, he goes, hi. I'm like, man, I was like, you really did it. Yeah, so I went to get the Anwar to see if he can fit in it, but I couldn't get it from J.N. Webster. I'm sorry, but he was shorter then. And, that was a good time, and as Tammy said, at the height of COVID, Kieran was like on Zoom. I went to say, hey, I think we should do the Zoom meeting, because I think your mom said, who will talk? Then before I could say, he was, oh yeah, I found this thing Zoom, we're gonna get on it. Kieran goes through everything. And we felt kind of bad because we didn't think COVID would last so long, so we said, you know what, we're gonna give you another shot at SPL. Everybody agreed. Kieran looked and said, man, he said, I gotta do this again? He said, it was hard the first time. He said, it was like, nope, just keep doing what you're doing, buddy. You're there, and he got through. I mean, again, amazing. He actually did a camp out on Zoom where he was outside doing different things, and you could follow along, and never a bad word, nothing with Kieran, and again, it was a pleasure having him, I know there were some kids that wanted him to go for year 3, but, I think enough is enough. Give somebody else a chance, and he did. And then he didn't fade away. He stayed around. Encouragement to the next SPL and to the troop. And again, we're appreciative of that. And I'm looking forward to really good things for coming from you. And so again, congratulations. And now I'm going to go back to your parents. Okay. Your parents have undoubtedly been your primary source of health and strength. No one will ever know the unnumbered acts of self-sacrifice from your mothers. I'd like to present her the eagle pin.
Killed it.
Okay, in recognition of your mom's devotion you created, you sent her the pen. Now I want you to do it for your father. Okay, he's been a source of much advice and guidance along the Eagle Trail.
Just an earring?
I wanted to choke him. So now, it's my pleasure to present to you our newest Eagle Scout. Been there for a while.
So, I would just like to kind of, start off by thanking everyone for being here tonight. I'll be honest, when I was planning this whole thing out, I was told apparently I should be doing a speech or something. No, it wasn't my choice. At least I figured I should go and thank all the people that helped me get to where I'm standing today. Firstly, I have to start by thanking my parents for dealing with me all these years, especially for helping me stick with me for my project. I know there have been many restless nights spent worrying about that project. I mean, I wasn't restless at all, trust me. I slept like a baby. But, I mean, I was just calm, cool, collected the whole time. No, but seriously, thank you, Mom and Dad. I've been told many times it's been stressful dealing with me. So thank you both very much for being there. Sticking with the fam for a second, I have to thank my siblings, Aaron and Caleb, for always being cheerful faces to brighten my day. Next, Liam, who was like a right-hand man. He's always sitting there helping me out, even if sometimes it's only because Mom forced him to. And then last, but not least, despite his stature, Trey is in fact a great little big brother. And as much as I'd like to break him off on you, and you're a great person to talk to, bounce ideas off of, and you're a massive help when I did my project, despite the fact that I only chose the project to one-up you. And despite the fact that I can annoy you sometimes, you haven't killed me yet, so thanks for that. Next, I would like to thank all the adults in the troop and scouting. I'd like to give a special shout out to Mr. Ellis and Mr. Helke for being such a big help during my project. I couldn't do it without you guys. Bill, Mr. Cordino, Jim, for always being sources of guidance in scouting, but also teaching me things that I'll take way beyond. I'd also like to thank Mr. Hudson for managing to deal with me for 2 years of being SPL. I know it may have been hard at times. Finally, and I promise I'm almost done with the thank yous, all the scouts, old and young, who have in some way helped me get to where I am today. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to Josh, who was there throughout my journey to Eagle and throughout Scouts, for being the most energetic kid in my patrol, to helping me throughout my entire Eagle project, being there every single day, even when no one else was. I wouldn't be here without your awesome energy and enthusiasm. Now, like I said, I promised we're done with the thank yous. But there is one last thing I have to do. Well, actually two. I have to give away a coin, and I have to give away a pin. This is the Eagles Mentor pin. I can't think of someone more fitting than the person who was there at the beginning and said, "Geez, you're just like your brother." And was with me to the end, being my Eagle advisor. So, Jim Christensen, will you please come up? The next one is the Eagle coin. For those of you who don't know, The Eagle coin is given to someone who the Eagle feels is worthy of becoming Eagle later on in their life. Trey gave it to me way back in the day, and now that I beat him in both height and projects, don't want to brag or anything. It's my time to go give it to someone who I believe can go and eventually kind of make their way to Eagle. So, may I have come up and receive the Eagle coin. I'd like to thank you guys all again. Despite me cracking jokes, it's really just my only way of actually not crying. Unlike my mom, thank you for crying. Really, you didn't cry at Trey's, that's all I'm saying. But seriously, I would like to thank everyone. There's an immeasurable amount of people I would like to thank. I just don't have all day. So if anyone I did not thank, I promise I am thinking of you. I just can't go on forever. Thank you again for coming here tonight. And then as always, there should be food in the back in a little bit. Parents first, scouts last, except for me because I'm an old guy now.
I used to have it. I lost a lot of that stuff.
So you don't.
Alright, now you can come out.
So I figured I have to.